It's a nearly 900-mile trek from New Orleans, Louisiana, up to Muncie, Indiana. That is the trek that the New Orleans Privateers make today to take on the Ball State University Cardinals. And with that, we welcome you courtside with the point guard, David Iha. Joel Godet, glad to have you along with us. It is a long trip, but Mark Schlesinger and his coaching staff for UNO, they're pretty much all from this area, so basically it's a trip home.
Well, it really is. Mark Schlesinger is a guy that grew up in Bloomington, Indiana, used to come to Ball State basketball camp as a kid. They've used their entire allotment of tickets tonight. A lot of friends and family for this New Orleans coaching staff here in attendance.
Mark Schlesinger's high school coach was Ron Heklinski, who was an assistant coach on Ball State's Sweet 16 run back in the late 1980s. Well, let's take a look at the team that he brings home, and it all starts with a guy who's 5'8". The smallest guy we'll see on the floor today, that is Kristavius Gill.
Well, Kristavius Gill is a guy that makes them go. He's their leading scorer at 12 points a game. He also is third in their conference in steals, so he gets it done at both ends. Just 5'8". Also has the ability to get to the free throw line. He is the key offensively for New Orleans.
On the flip side for Ball State, Ryan Weber was held to single figures for the first time as a Cardinal 2 games ago. Made up for it big time, though, Tuesday night against IUPUI.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan Weber is a guy that's made at least 1 3 in every single game. Twice this season he's made 4. Comes in shooting over 50% from three-point land, 20th in the nation. Ryan Weber certainly the guy that the Privateers have to look for in transition.
You've got to stop the Cardinals shooting the 3, but if you're New Orleans, their number 1 goal, David, today is actually to shoot the ball, and not from behind the three-point line, but from behind the free throw line.
Well, I tell you what, Joel, I mean, this is a team that gets to the free throw line a lot. They average 33 throw attempts a game, but they're just not making them. In their crosstown rival game the other day against Tulane, they were just 16 of 28 in a 2-point loss. When they get to the charity stripe, particularly their bigs, they have to have success. Make the open shot, that sounds simplistic. These guys only shoot 38% from 2-point range. So if you're New Orleans and you get open looks inside the arc, you've got to take better advantage and knock those in. Finally, defensively, you've got to find the Cardinal shooters, particularly behind the arc in transition defense. For Ball State, the keys to the game for the Cardinals, take care of the basketball. Cardinals are coming off a game against IUPUI. They turned it over 15 times. Way too many. They're facing a Privateer team that loves to turn other teams over. It's been a big emphasis in practice. Second for the Cardinals, you've got to put the clamps on the New Orleans backcourt. A majority of their scoring comes from their guards, so you've got to watch out that dribble penetration. And finally, Joel, you've got to get Sean Sellers going. In this Cardinal 5-game win streak, the reigning MAC Freshman of the Year, Sean Sellers, has not been playing up to his standards, has scored just 3 points in the last 2 ball games. For Ball State to click on all cylinders, you got to get Sean Sellers going.
Sean Sellers, down 10 minutes per game from his freshman season to this season, is not in the starting lineup tonight. That unit has become pretty consistent, though, there for James Whitford.
Well, it really has. And one of the things you've noticed this far into the season, Ball State is playing 10 guys. And typically what you see, particularly at the 1, 2, and 3 spots, Joel, you'll have one player play 12 minutes in the first half. His replacement will get 8 minutes. Who's ever playing the best will then log the majority of those minutes in the second half.
Starting lineup for UNO, you see Tevin Broyles at 6'4", is a pretty large guard for them. That allows some diversity on the outside, pretty good driving ability. Nate Fry is the point guard. Their big man is Kevin Hill at the bottom. He's 6'7", 215. At that size is their best rebounder, and he's smaller than Ryan Weber.
Well, it's exactly right. He does a terrific job on the boards, but really it's Fry and Gill that make this New Orleans team go. Both of those guys are very adept at getting to the teeth of the defense. That's an area at times Ball State has struggled with, so that is going to be a key to watch. Can the Cardinal guards keep New Orleans guards from penetrating and getting to the paint?
Mark Schlesinger is in his 5th year. 49-70 as the head coach for UNO, and you kind of have to discount that a little bit. He took over a program that was in more than rebuilding mode.
Well, there's no question about that. A lot of turmoil for the first time. They're without any sanctions, practice-wise, scholarship-wise, and by all accounts doing a terrific job. Super nice guy, by the way.
James Whitford doing a great job for Ball State now as well, having really turned this program around in his 3rd season. Tip is up. We are underway, and it is a UNO basketball They're in the blue and white. Cardinals in their home white here today.
Cardinals start man-to-man. Both of these teams will play zone at times. Look for New Orleans to also apply some full-court pressure.
New Orleans 2-4, one Division I win so far. It's Bradley, one of the two teams that has beaten Ball State. Immediately, Broyles on the drive. We mentioned his ability to penetrate.
Well, that was a good job, good recognition. Just 4 on the shot clock, put it on the deck. That's what they do, Joel. They've shot 47 fewer threes than their opponents this year. It's all about driving for New Orleans.
Our officiating crew today, Mid-American Conference Group, Greg Langsdorf, Kyle Ingram, Brian Anslinger.
Well, it's an early foul, a hand check on Fry, and Nate Fry picked up that first foul. That is big. He is the guy, as we said, that really controls that offense.
And he's their second leading scorer. So he stirs the drink, then he pours it, for lack of a better metaphor. Franco House for the Cardinals. Into the corner for Weber. 20th in the country. Three-point shooting over 50%. To the rack, got his own board, and then lost it. And that's going to stay a Ball State basketball. They'll say off Fry's knee.
Well, that's a tough matchup for Fry. Ryan Weber's 6'6", and oh, by the way, Fry picked up that first foul. Didn't want to get that second one. So if you're Ball State, that was a good opportunity for Weber to take advantage of the mismatch.
This comes into the size again. Ball State superior in that department by a long shot.
And a lot of switches. Now you've got Fry on Calhoun over here.
Bo Calhoun, a tall, bulky 6'5". Kiapway a three. He too can sharpshoot it. That one off the mark though. As good as Weber is, Francis Kiapway, 53% from three. And a quick turnover underneath. Ball State can run. Smith, no look pass, and House didn't see it coming.
Well, reminiscent of the game against IUPUI, a turnover for a turnover early on, and that has been such a big emphasis with this Ball State staff.
Franco House the rebound. Against IUPUI, there were 31 turnovers between the two teams, and yet only 22 points off of that. Smith will go to the line for two. That's because every time you turned it over, you didn't get points because there was a turnover on the other end.
Well, yeah, and talking to Coach Whitford in the film session with the players and the emphasis on taking better care of the basketball, he said, look, guys, if you look at our 2 losses and our game against IUPUI, those were the games we had the most turnovers, 18, 15, and 15. So it is a definite correlation between how we play. So something to watch here today. Can the Cardinals keep that turnover battle under 12?
See the foul there on Michael Zeno, his first. And with the miss for Niall Smith at the line, he does convert on the second. Ball State is now 8 for its last 17 free throws, a team that really shoots free throws pretty well. New Orleans still has the advantage. Ever so popular 2-1 basketball store. Here's Zeno. He had just committed the foul. Sophomore out of Beaumont in Texas. Dumped down. Gill in traffic, lost it. Shot clock is at 3, and Niall Smith's going to reset it. Ball State in possession. Quick touch pass. Good look from Weber, although Kiapway shy to pull the trigger. Now on the drive. Just his third 2-point attempt of this season. And Ball State quickly won and out.
Well, New Orleans did a great job finding the Cardinal shooters in transition last time.
Gill blocked by Niall Smith. 5'8", trying to play with the trees. House, little Euro step. Ball State has the lead for the first time. Quickly back the other way. That gets erased. That's Kevin Hill.
So, well, one of the Cardinal bigs lost Hill in transition. No way to get the basket that easy off of a make, but good job New Orleans looking ahead.
House screening Smith. Skips it. Weber into the 3. Off the mark. Ball State, such a good sharpshooting team, but now Weber and Kiapway have each missed from deep, which means statistically speaking, their next one will go in. Off the curl, layup off the glass for Tevin Broyles. He only averages 4 points a game, David. He has that right now.
Yeah, I tell you what, and typically, and he'll probably be one of the first guys to come off the court, but he's doing a good job early on, that time getting to the rim.
Ball State is going to make 4 substitutions at the next whistle. New Orleans 3. Floater, and Niall Smith.
Well, we talk about New Orleans changing defenses. That time went to a zone. Good job, Smith, getting to the paint.
Quick dump down. Zeno from underneath the bucket. Finally gets it to roll through.
And that's Exhibit A, Joel, on what we talked about. Guys like Fry and Gill that didn't get to the paint, draw the help, and then make the extra pass. They're going wherever they want right now with the basketball. Cardinal guards have to do a better job defensively.
Smith into the lane. Wide open Kiapwe. And the math plays true. 50% shooter from 3. He's 1 for 2 today.
Well, it's working both ways. What did you see for Ball State? It was Niall Smith getting to the teeth of the defense, the drive and kick. So right now it's about the guards getting to the teeth of that defense and drawing help.
Gill breaks down Kiapwe easily to the rack, but the rebound, Bo Calhoun, and the Cardinals, everybody on 1. Calhoun with the bounce, cannot finish. House a second chance. Out to Weber, and the one more. Rebounded by Zeno.
Boy, Cards blew a golden opportunity there. You had a 3-on-1 break and unable to convert.
He had a 5-on-1. New Orleans catches a break. 8-8. New Orleans calls the timeout. It's first of the ball game. Tied up in Muncie. Ball State in New Orleans deadlocked here in the early going. University of New Orleans in one of the hardest hit areas of New Orleans by Hurricane Katrina. David, it's the 10-year anniversary, for lack of a better word, of the Hurricane Katrina storm. It's really been a long way back for Mike Schlesinger in this department, which at one point was going to go Division III, then II, then decided to stay Division I. And we said off the top, more than a rebuilding process, he likes where they are right now.
Well, I tell you, and he's done a terrific job with his team getting out in the community. They've got a beautiful lakefront arena, seats 10,000 people. So, again, it's been a slow process, but he's getting them to the point where they're competing in the Southland Conference. Won a game in their conference tournament for the first time last year. So definitely trending upward.
Shot clock was winding down there for Eric Thomas. Both teams have made wholesale substitutions. Bo Calhoun is the only player on the floor who started today on either side. Cardinals go into him, and it's tipped out of bounds by Thomas. There were so many head coaching changes after Katrina for New Orleans. 3 guys left for assistantships. Most notably, Buzz Williams was one of them, had a very successful 1 year, left to go to Marquette. Finally, Mark Schlesinger comes in and turned out to be the guy for the rebuilding job. Calhoun with 2 to shoot, and the 3 around and out. He can do that, although the percentage only 27 on the year.
Well, Joe, if you're Ball State, you've got to be careful. 5 of your 10 field goal attempts have come from behind the arc. You're just 1 of 5. Do not settle for threes.
Edwards does, and the rebound tipped to Thomas. Second chance points are not there. The rebound, Trey Moses.
And that's one of the things we talked about in the open, only shooting 38% as a team from two-point land. That's one Thomas would love to have back.
Only 345th in effective field goal percentage for New Orleans, rather. That takes into account the types of shots you're shooting. Long 3, rebounded by Moses. Cardinals completely reset. 1 of 5 for Ball State from deep. Now 1 of 6. Tyler, good wall-up defense, and Moses has the offensive rebound tipped to Calhoun. Ball State on the offensive glass now, something Bo Calhoun does so well. Tyler drive, and the floater. Timeout taken by James Whitford.
Well, good aggressive move going to the goal by Jeremy Tyler, and Coach Whitford's going to call a timeout, kind of regroup. I think he's saying on offense, guys, we're settling way too early for the 3. Let's be aggressive, at least go inside out. That's exactly what New Orleans is doing. 8 of the privateer points have come in the paint. They've not, they're 0 for 1 from 3, so it's been a tale of 2 different stories. Ball State settling for jumpers, New Orleans getting to the paint.
4 offensive rebounds for Ball State.
Well, Trey Moses in that last possession single-handedly got the Cardinals 2 extra opportunities with his hustle, so paying big dividends off the bench for the freshman. And speaking of freshmen, his high school teammate Cameron Reed checks in for New Orleans. And talk about a catch and shoot guy. Reed, you've got to watch him from the perimeter. 28 of his 33 shots have come from behind the arc.
That's 15 in blue at the bottom of your screen, Cameron Reed. 0 for 7 against Tulane from 3. All of his shots were threes on Wednesday. Mark Schlesinger saying that's more of an aberration than anything. He is a shooter. Trey Moses agreed. Free throw line jumper, a little bit strong for Broyles. And Ball State the rebound. Boy, Sellers really wanted to do that too, and the Cardinals turned it over instead. Active hands, Jeremiah Davis knocks it away, then Sellers dangerously tried to save it under his own bucket. And Sean's going to be okay. He ran into the mascot, Charlie Cardinal.
And Joe, back to the last Ball State possession, you talked about Sellers wanting to shoot it. You had the sense coming out of that timeout that Coach Whitford said, look, guys, we got to pound it inside first. So Sean held up probably on that shot, elected to get it into Moses, just not a good entry. Give him credit for hustling back on defense, however. Inside,
Trayvon Thibodeau. First touch for the big man. Missed it. And, well, he got it back, but he saved it. A little bit of disagreement or confusion between the officials. Kyle Ingram asking for help. And Brian Anslinger saying yes.
Well, we could take a look at it. Thibodeau fighting for it. It's really hard to tell right there.
Looked like the ball was out when he went to save it, so the question becomes who it touched underneath. Either way, it's a New Orleans basketball tied at 10. David, we mentioned in the last segment there that Cameron Reed and Trey Moses were high school teammates at Eastern High School in Louisville, Kentucky. Went 17-10 last year. Two guys that really knew that they were Division I prospects too. Trey said when they knew they had coaches to look at one another, they'd help each other out to make sure they got shots.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Both being very productive as freshmen for their respective teams.
All tied up at 10 here as Reed's team goes to work. Thibodeau slipping and was going to say did a good job to stay alive, but he is called for the travel. And Ball State takes back over.
Well, actually a break on the travel. If not, that would have been a live ball turnover and a run out for Jeremiah Davis.
There's a couple travels in there. And here comes Davis running the point guard off the bench for Ball State. Cardinals still with mostly bench players in there. Franco House is the only starter standing at the free throw line. Neither team has found a rhythm early. Ball State 4 of 13 from the field. 31%. 2 to shoot. Davis strips, and the shot clock's going to go.
That's just terrific on-the-ball defense by New Orleans. That ball didn't enter the three-point arc until 4 on the shot clock, and that certainly has to make Coach Schlesinger and his staff very happy. Right now, Ball State, Joel, their offense just really out of sync. Franco House not able to really get any touches on the offensive end, so you've got to credit Thomas the job he's doing on House.
Nate Fry coming in. He'll run the point here for New Orleans. Second time House has been contained in 2 games as well. Backdoor cut. Broyles missed the bunny. And Sellers the rebound. House made and took only 1 shot against IUPUI earlier in the week. First time since his freshman year he was held to 1 shot. Tyler jacks up the 3. It's a little bit flat. Saved by House. Second chance Ball State. Their 7th offensive rebound.
Boy, and that's big, and it's demoralizing for a defense when you get the stop and can't secure the rebound.
House the save. That could be trouble. Cardinals do a good job to get back, but Reed has a trigger. And he's unafraid, knocking it down.
Well, unafraid is the key word there, Joel. He was 0 for 6 against Tulane, but the head coach was not afraid to go to the freshman for a game-winning 3 attempt with 8 seconds left. That just shows you the shooter's mentality that Reed has.
Sellers in traffic, and he draws the foul on Reed. Sean Sellers going to the line with his team down a triple.
Well, and I tell you, maybe that's what Sean Sellers needs to get him going. Get to the free throw line, see that ball go through the net a little bit. But back to Reed, and here you see the good move by Sellers. Uncharacteristically just 8 of 14, 57%. This was a guy last year that was second in the MAC at 81%.
The foul was the third on New Orleans. You know, they talk about all the new emphasis on freedom of movement, how there were going to be more fouls. Ball State has yet to be called for a foul a quarter of the way through the basketball game. Sellers 2 for 2. There's got to be like history where somebody didn't get called for a foul in a whole half, but we got to be closing in on some sort of
we got 10
era
minutes
record.
to go. I don't think we'll approach that, but nonetheless.
New Orleans still has the lead by 1, shooting 43%. 5 points, 5 percentage points over its season average. Again, we mentioned one of the lesser teams in the country in offensive efficiency. Fry doesn't care. Nate Fry, 50% from 3 on the season. He is one guy that can pour it in. New Orleans' lead is 4.
You know, he doesn't shoot a ton of them, just his 9th attempt, but as you said, he's made 5 now on the year. And notice,
shot clock never started. And now we're going to have to go to the monitor here and take a look at exactly how much time ticked off that possession.
Well, if the one thing I'll go back to is you do notice a conscientious effort for Ball State to try to get that thing inside. And there you see kind of getting hung up on the screen, Jeremiah Davis. And Fry, you leave a guy like that wide open, he'll knock it in. Again, a double-figure score, 10 points. Privateers 2 for 3 behind the arc. Meanwhile, Ball State just 1 for 7. So half of the Cardinals' 14 shots have come from behind the arc. Definitely something they want to address. It's okay. They're a really good three-point shooting team, but get it out of the flow of the offense.
You know, it's easy to kind of fall in love with that shot. You think about it. Ryan Weber, 20th in the country in three-point shooting. Francis Kiapwe would be above him, but he is 1 shot shy of the minimum. He'd be in the top 15 in three-point shooting. And then you also have to throw in Jeremy Tyler and Sean Sellers, who can shoot it. Franco House can shoot it. Bo Calhoun loves to shoot it. So you've got a whole bunch of guys that can put it up from back there. It's almost like, you know, it's like the apple of the Garden of Eden. Like, are you tempted to eat it? Because you can, but it's only going to work out statistically 4 out of 10 times maximum.
Yeah, now you got to be careful falling in love with it. And, you know, I look at a couple of the games that New Orleans played. Bradley was a win. You know, Bradley shot 2 of 18 behind the arc, and in their game they lost by 2 to Tulane. Tulane was just 2 of 17 from three-point land. So, as you said, don't fall in love with it. And Cardinals can take threes all day long. Coaching staff will be fine, but give it a touch inside where you're drawing the defense and some cleaner looks.
Take a look at the Bradley Braves matchups for both of these teams. It's their only common opponent this year. Mark Schlesinger said basically it's a huge win for them too. You go on the road and win a guarantee game. Ball State is Bradley's only win still at this point. It's kind of an unfair metric though. Brand new coach, 10 freshmen. Ball State got the honor of playing the great unknown game where there's really no film or no anything to study.
Yeah, Joe Boy, I look back at that game, the real blemish on the Cardinal schedule. You didn't have Ryan Weber. It was the very first game. There were about 180 fouls. It was just, you know, Cardinals had an 8-point lead at the 6:37 mark and just did not seize that opportunity. But that's one that got away. And I really feel with Ryan Weber, and if those teams were to play 10 times, the Cardinals would win 9 of them. It's just one you can't get back. And Ball State would admit that one hurt because definitely the more talented team, you could see it at the time. But, you know, again, Peoria is not an easy place to play. And for New Orleans to go in and get a win there, it certainly grabs your attention.
They've reset the shot clock to 11, and Franco House right into the lane is called for the charge. Christavius Gill, tip your cap to the guy, all 5'8" of them, just stepped in front of a bus.
Well, and I tell you, you got to credit Gill. I mean, that's giving up your body. They give him at 5'8", 168. I'd say that's generous. My guess is he goes about 150, and to give up his body, that's a leader on your team.
Got a push there. So giveth and taketh away.
Well, if there's one thing we've seen this season is you cannot move on a screen. They will call that every single time. So see if Ball State can take advantage of the opportunity.
That's Gill, his first, team's fourth. Ball State, by the way, did pick up a foul, obviously, on the charge, so there goes the clean half. Good ball movement for Ball State. Still no open looks out of it, though. There's one for Kiapwe. He's 2 of 4 tonight.
Great pass by Weber, exactly what we talked about, going inside out. They got the defense moving from side to side. Credit Wyan Weber, a great pass out of the block to an open Kiapwe.
Francis Kiapwe had an 8-game stretch last year where he shot 60% from 3. Reed thought he might have gotten fouled. Good defense there by Weber. Forget an 8-game stretch, he's just shooting that this year. An incredible three-point shooter for Ball State. Calhoun going to work. Rebound, Ball State. House, no. Almost another offensive rebound, and Calhoun comes out with it. There's a foul on New Orleans. No, they got to travel underneath the bucket. I think everybody probably traveled somewhere in that mesh.
Boy, and I tell you, you got to credit Ball State for crashing the boards. And Thibodeau, as he was falling down, coughed it up. And, you know, right now the Cardinals not able to take advantage of those second chance opportunities. They're getting the offensive boards, but not making the baskets. But I guarantee you, Coach Schlesinger is going to talk about defensive rebounding to his team.
2 second chance points for Ball State. Half its rebounds offensive. Good defense in the post by House. And about all Zeno could do was that. Nice flip over the left shoulder.
Yeah, Franco made the mistake of leaving the lane to the basket protected, tried to apply pressure, and good footwork for Zeno to finish.
This ball pressure defense here for New Orleans is suffocating. Just look at how close Broyles is on Weber. And the block. Help side by Hill. Big bounce pass, and the alley-oop finished on the touch.
Wow, terrific passing. Gill giving it up on the lob. That was all started by great defense, Joel. Just their 15th block on the season, but getting out in transition.
Largest lead of the ball game for New Orleans at 5. Ball State has only led by 1.
Boy, I'm surprised Franco threw that out. He was matched up on the 5'8" Gill on the block. You got to be more aggressive if you're Franco House.
Now he's matched up on Hill. And he hits the floater. That's what Franco House does. That middle of the lane is his kingdom.
Yep, good patience, particularly with the shot clock at 4. Presence of mind to still take his time and finish in there. Give Franco House 4.
Drive for Fry. He ladled it up, but missed. They're getting back in transition. Defense has been just stupendous. Double team comes to House. It leaves Kiapwe open. He missed it with the rebound, Hill.
2 for 9, Ball State. You can't fault that look. It was a great pass by Niall Smith, a little touch pass, but unable to knock it in.
And if you're Schlesinger, you say, all right, he missed it, but guys, can't leave him open.
That's right. Playing dangerously, leaving Kiapwe, a guy that shoots over 50%, that wide open.
The lob knocked away. It will stay with blue when we come back. Defense has been fantastic for New Orleans. Ball State shooting 30%, 14 points below its season average. And New Orleans in front. New Orleans has a 3-point lead. Francis Kiapwe about the only thing that's going well for Ball State offensively.
Well, Francis has done a terrific job finding the open spots in the defense, moving behind that arc. He's been the one guy to have success. As we said, just 2 of 9 for Ball State. Uncharacteristic, a team that shoots 37%. They're getting good looks. Joel, at some point you're going to have to believe those missed threes are going to start to fall.
Kiapwe goes to the bench, and we've got a stoppage. Weber reached, but I do not think they got him for the foul. They've got a conversation between Brian Anslinger and Kyle Ingram over at the scorer's table. I think we've got another clock issue. So they will check that. There have only been 5 fouls called in the game, so I mean, they could, but I'd find it hard to venture that they would have called that at this juncture.
Well, 7 on the shot clock here, so not a lot of time if you're New Orleans.
They added 1 second back onto the game clock.
They like to get the ball in the hands of Fry, let him create.
And 5 seconds now on the shot clock. Lob inside Hill.
Shot clock didn't start again.
It was a long first second. So we will do this again. And where this really hurts you if you're New Orleans is you're condensing time. You've got to play for 5 seconds. You have less for 3 seconds.
Yeah, however, you may get a better look here. Hill was in no man's land and was really unaware of how much time on the clock. So now you pretty much have to.
The horror has broken out here. Little Havanagila. And both coaches will call their teams to their respective benches. Here's Hill.
Well, he's going away from the basket. Keep in mind, there was 5 on the shot clock when he started. So had that thing started originally, it almost would have gone off, or he would have had the ball in his hands way out there with 1 second. You see Nate Wells, 7-footer, 5th-year transfer from Bradley, is in the game now for Ball State. Wells really done a good job, Joe, off the bench. Doesn't show up a lot in the stat sheet, but has done a terrific job protecting the rim.
4 minutes against IUPUI on Tuesday. 3 points, 2 blocks. That's efficiency. Shot clock at 4. They bounce underneath for Hill. That was a good look, and a whistle will go on New Orleans. A lot happened there in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I tell you, that was a terrifically executed end out of bounds play. Got the look they wanted, but we talked at the outset, Joel, that's one of those baskets point blank. If you look at the shot chart, many opportunities inside 10 feet. New Orleans just unable to take advantage right now.
Foul went on Eric Thomas. That is his first, team's 5th. 5 fouls on New Orleans, just 1 still on Ball State. It's Franco House for a charge. And we'll get another call to New Orleans off the ball.
Well, we're going to get Hill for holding Nate Wells. One more, Cardinals will be shooting free throws, so you got to be aggressive right now, and that's just a tough matchup. Wells, 7 foot.
He's lost a couple of years, too. Shaved off his beard during the week. He went from a grad student to a sophomore overnight. Weber baseline. Double team, tried to pass out of it, and he's still got time. Shot clock at 9. Calhoun has the 3-point range, but they have not fallen. Ball State is now just 2 for 10, both makes by Francis Kiapwe. And too quick through the hands of Eric Thomas. Turnover number 6 for New Orleans.
Well, while they'll turn teams over, averaging more than 16 for their opponents, they also turn it over almost 15 times a game.
Sean Sellers back in now for Ball State. You want to see more out of Sean Sellers.
Well, you do. I mean, Sean, in the last 2 ball games, averaging just 14 minutes, one of his last 8.
Got a whistle and a walk. Little jump stop there for Davis.
7 turnovers for Ball State. Got to the teeth of the defense. And again, Joel, that New Orleans is just packing it in. Look at the help. Whenever the Cardinal guards get there, there's not one, often there's 2 extra defenders.
Thomas blows by Calhoun. No help. Rebound.
Got numbers.
Plenty of them. Tyler looking. Gets it back from 3. Jeremy Tyler. Another guy. Great last year when he played. Cardinals need to get him going.
Good job, Bo Calhoun, making the extra pass. And when you get stops, it'll allow you to get out and transition. You're struggling in the half court. Try some early offense.
The 3 tied it. Fry cannot get the lead back in Ball State now.
That's Sellers.
Chance for its largest lead. Tyler. Ball State is in front. First time by more than 1 point.
Well, they did it again. You got the stop, you get out in transition. Credit Sean Sellers making the extra pass, finding Tyler all alone in the corner.
8-0 Ball State run, 6-0 Tyler run. This is Broyles, who had 4 points early, nothing since. Hesitation and cannot finish. Ball State has shut down the lane.
Well, and they're getting stops and look at how they're running in transition, getting numbers.
Calhoun's going to shoot that every time. Pure. Nothing but the net for Bo Calhoun. And after starting 2 of 10 from 3, Ball State has connected on 3 straight.
Well, we said ultimately they're better shooters than this at 37%. You keep giving them that open of looks, they're going to start to bury them. That's exactly what's happening now for Ball State.
Ball State started just 2 for 10 from behind the 3-point arc, but has caught fire here. And now the 6-point lead, David Iha, is its largest.
Well, it's all started on the defensive end. Cardinals have been able to get stops, and when you get stops, you can get out trying to get some early offense. Jeremiah Davis doing a good job. There, the extra pass from Sean Sellers, and Tyler draining the 3 in transition. So Ball State getting out and running with 10 guys in the rotation. They feel like they can take advantage of the depth and get out and get some early offense.
Really nice play drawn up out of the timeout, though. And Trayvon Thibodeau is going to go to the line out of it. Hey, credit Mark Schlesinger. Came out with a plan, it works.
Well, good play after timeout. Gill back in the game. Thibodeau, he's a guy that came on towards the end of last year, 10 starts, and struggles from the foul line, much like a lot of their bigs, just 46%. He knocks that one in, but as a team, they shoot just 63%, and that has been the Achilles heel for the big guys from New Orleans.
Foul on Trey Moses, his first, team's second.
Cardinals on a 9-0 run until that free throw from the 8-minute mark to the 4-minute mark.
Thibodeau, good. Hits them both. He also fulfills the quota for a team from Cajun country having a player with an X in his last name. So
there you go.
Thibodeau,
T-H-I-B-O-D-E-A-U-X.
B-O-D-E-A-U-X, yeah. Near turnover. Cardinals have coughed it up 7 times in the first half. This is Moses spinning on Thibodeau. Beautiful drop step, but he could not finish.
Boy, again, a lot of missed close-in shots, but the one thing you notice, Joel, the pass to the post, no double team. Great footwork, little step up and under, just couldn't finish. But if they're not going to double team Trey Moses, continue to feed him.
He's played so exceptionally well for Ball State over the last couple of games.
And look who's guarding Franco House right now. You've got Fry at 6 feet.
That's where Ball State goes, and House gives it up.
There you go. You've got him on the block, pinned.
Tyler's double teamed on the perimeter, though. Got to find a way to feed it into House. Davis on the penetration, gets the roll. That is what Davis gives you at the point guard spot for Ball State, is the ability to create late in the shot clock.
Yeah, he does. He's so strong and physical, even in traffic. If he gets bumped, he's got the ability. And, you know, one of the things, Jeremiah is starting to make those little runners, those little jump shots in the paint. He struggled early on in the season, but now starting to connect, has his confidence up a little bit.
Foul on Davis, his first, Ball State's third. This is Gill, who's been quiet, has not scored. He's the team's leading scorer.
And he's capable in bunches, and Thibodeau giving them good production off the bench. In their game against Tulane, Gill only had 2 points in the first half, ended up with 15, so he's capable.
Davis gets into the lane too easily again, and again gets the roll. 4 straight for Davis. Ball State's lead back to 6.
And those are the bounces he wasn't getting early on in the season. And what a difference right now for Ball State, giving them points and passing out of that point guard position.
Zeno at the elbow. Air ball. And Thibodeau keeps it alive. I'll tell you what, I like Thibodeau's agility. See him move off screens, roll to the bucket, play facing up. Inside again, Zeno. There's a foul. He'll get Franco House his second.
Well, it was a great look by the point guard, Nate Fry. And again, We talked about the bigs from New Orleans struggling. Look at this pass by Fry, finding Zeno underneath. And if you're Franco House, go ahead and put him at the line. Zeno just 15 of 31, 48%. You know, we talked to Coach Mark Schlesinger about playing so many road games, and the whole idea is to prepare them for Southland Conference. It's a one big league. I mean, you look at Stephen F. Austin, 2 years in a row, they've won not only the conference tournament, but the regular season as well. So that's who everybody's gunning for in that league.
It's one of those things where you can play to win the regular season, but what's it get you? Well, it doesn't get you to the dance. So you're playing to win over a span of a week in March. Here's Tyler for the Cardinals. A little bit flat, and Thibodeau has the rebound. Southland Conference picked in the coaches poll New Orleans to finish 8th in the 13-team league. Stephen F. Austin was picked at the top of the charts again. There's Thibodeau. He's had a really good first half here for New Orleans. Give him 6 points now.
Well, he only averages 2, so great production. Again, give the assist to Fry. Doing a terrific job. That's his third dime on the afternoon.
2.7, David, come on. Shaving almost a point off that. Weber lost it. It's Thibodeau. He runs in transition and finds his help, Fry. Thibodeau tipped it to keep it alive. 3-second shot clock, game clock difference.
Well, got away with a travel there if you New Orleans and a shot clock reset. 4-second differential, so they're going to be content to try to shave this thing down and not give Ball State much of an opportunity.
2 to tie, 3 to lead. Thibodeau missed it. Shot clock off. Zeno underneath. Missed it. Thibodeau the rebound. Reed's a shooter. Misses. Now just 2 of 5 from deep. New Orleans and Ball State will get the last shot of the first half.
Well, we talk about living dangerously. Man, you just gave New Orleans, if you're Ball State, 4 opportunities in that possession, and the Privateers unable to take advantage.
4 seconds. Clock did not start.
Well, they're going to say that was a dead ball, and Ryan Weber ran as if that was a made basket.
Yep.
And so they're going to call a travel. Or
no, they are going to give it to New Orleans. Yeah. It looked like the clock was slow to start, so I thought that's initially what it was, but you're right.
Well, boy, and I tell you, if the Cards can avert a basket here, you have avoided catastrophe in this last 40 seconds. If you're New Orleans, look for Reed or Fry.
Inbound underneath is into Zeno. Lost the ball. And as time expires, the shot is up but out. Broyles had a look at it. And Ball State takes control into halftime. Well, New Orleans led by as many as 5, really controlled the flow for the most part, but Ball State came on strongly.
Well, and they survived, and boy, I tell you what, I thought that ball was going to go in. Zeno with the offensive goaltend, so Ball State gets a break here in this last 40 seconds.
Cardinals lead by 2 at the break. Lead at the break for Ball State is 30-28 over the New Orleans Privateers, with David Eha back here courtside. It was an interesting first half. By the way, master at dancing for his supper, David Eha.
You gotta love it, a little fan participation.
Promotion back in the day. Did you like the way that the first half played out? I thought you saw solid moments from both teams.
Well, you did, and I thought you saw good production off the bench. You know, you look at New Orleans, you got to give Thibodeau credit. A guy averages 2 points a game, came in off the bench, had 6. Jeremy Tyler came in big for Ball State with 8 points. But if you look at the Cardinals, Ryan Weber, your leading scorer, held to 0 points in that first half. So you got to credit the New Orleans defense, but neither team really could get going well offensively. And for Ball State, we talked about turnovers being a big story. 9 here in the first half. Way too many if you're Ball State Cardinals.
I know we're talking about basketball, but that was just the second most entertaining thing that was happening on this broadcast. I don't know who that guy is, but he just stole the day.
I think he's going to win a prize pack of something, that's for sure.
What's got to change here in the second half? Ball State has started to shoot it really well from three. New Orleans has let that happen a little bit in transition.
Well, they have, and I think one of the things what you saw is when the Ball State was able to get stops, they were able to get out and get in transition. Yeah. Now, with that being said, you have a penchant to maybe turn it over a little bit if you're out and running. But, if you're the Cardinals, continue to try to get early offense. You're not getting much in the half court. Felt like they were settling too early for jump shots. So get the ball inside out. But it all starts on the defensive end if you're able to get stops and can get out and run.
Christavius Gill, who came in as our spotlight player, our impact player to watch today, still hasn't scored for New Orleans also, and that becomes big. He's one of two guys that averages in double figures for this team.
Well, what we talked about, he can score in bunches. Very patient. You got to give him credit that he didn't force the action. And just Wednesday night against Tulane, he had 13 points in the second half. So he's capable of exploding. The one thing I like is the Cardinals did not foul on that penetration, and you saw that New Orleans missed a lot of close-in shots. So the Cardinals can play good defense without fouling and start knocking in some of those shots typically they'd make. I think they'd be in good shape.
New Orleans still in the ball game, led big early, had a 6-point advantage, washed away by Ball State late. Privateers trying to make a comeback in the second half. Ball State and New Orleans here today in Muncie. A lot more action coming to Muncie. Cardinals in the midst of an 8 out of 9 game homestand. Indiana State, the lone road game coming up in a couple of weeks, and that all gets you into Toledo when conference play starts on January 6th. And David Ehot's been an interesting MAC this year. Central Michigan picked to win, playing without Chris Fowler, just got beat by Dan Marley's Grand Canyon team this past week. So everything kind of up in the air at the moment.
Well, it is. You talk about Toledo. Boy, the numbers that Nathan Booth is putting up are phenomenal. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists for Nathan Booth. And boy, you talk about the MAC West. Eastern Michigan, to me, seems the team that is going to be the one to beat. They have a freshman, talking about New Orleans, coming out of Baton Rouge, James Thompson. This guy is 6'10", Joe. He's averaging 14 points, 11 rebounds, and leading the league in blocks as a freshman. Eastern Michigan has 5 guys scoring in double figures, so to me, they're going to be the team to contend with more so than Central Michigan.
Well, if you want to check out a Ball State basketball game coming up, you can check out the Pepsi Plan for All, which is the deal going on in Muncie. Pretty good one, too. $24 available day of game. The Pepsi Plan for All will get you 2 tickets, a couple of bags of chips, a couple of hats, a couple of hot dogs as well. You can call 888-BSU-TICKET or head to ballstatesports.com for more information and details on the Pepsi Plan for All. Way to check out affordable, family-friendly, family-fun entertainment here in Muncie, and it should be good. We talked about it. Home slate coming up. You get Toledo at home, and still a lot more basketball coming up here in the non-conference slate. Cardinals home most of the month of December. In the meantime, they've got New Orleans and a 2-point lead at halftime. Well, David, take a look at the way things played out here in the first half. New Orleans started out shooting pretty well and still is at 35%, but it wasn't the 50% that the Privateers shot at the beginning of the day.
Well, that's exactly right. The defense stiffened a little bit for Ball State. Cardinals started off cold. It was Kiapwe that got them going from behind the arc. They were 2 for their first 10 from three-point land. Were able to then get out in transition. Jeremy Tyler, the great pass by Bo Calhoun. Sean Sellers making the extra pass. Tyler, good production off the bench for Ball State, giving them 8 points. And Joel, 16 points in the paint advantage, New Orleans over Ball State. That's where you got to credit Michael Zeno and Trevin Thibodeau off the bench doing a terrific job there. The number that stands out, however, the 9 turnovers. We talked about it being a point of emphasis coming off of 15 at IUPUI. Fortunately, New Orleans has only turned those 9 turnovers into 5 points, but that's way too many empty possessions for Ball State right here this afternoon.
That's a team that at the start of the week was 77th nationally in fewest turnovers per game. We're talking about 350 some odd teams playing Division I basketball, so something that had really been an area of improvement as well, but we've seen a little bit of a regression, and I don't think it's a constant. James Whitford feels pretty good about where his team is at, but you need to certainly shore that up.
Well, you do, and a lot of the turnovers are unforced, but against a team like New Orleans, and when you're not shooting well, you need all the possession you can get, because one of the things, Joel, that we've seen, if Ball State can get shots up, they're really doing a terrific job on the offensive glass. Those turnovers lead to easy baskets on the other end.
It's a 30-28 Ball State lead at the break. Second half action coming your way next. The Ball State lead at the break is 2. Back and forth first half. New Orleans was in front by as many as 5. That was with 7.5 minutes left to go, and that's when Ball State turned on the three-point shooting. Started 2 of 10, finished 3 for its last 4. That's really where the tide turned.
Well, it really did. And if you're Ball State, 2 of your top 3 scorers, Ryan Weber and Bo Calhoun, they averaged 24 together. Combined in that first half, just 3 points. If you're Ball State, need to get your big guns clicking on the offensive end.
You're being too kind. All 3 of those points belonging to Bo Calhoun. So Ryan Weber has been held scoreless at this point. Single figures just once in his Ball State career, so a lot of legwork to do to keep it that way. Now here is Weber with 7 to shoot. And again, smothering ball pressure defense here for New Orleans. 2 to shoot, Smith the 3. That's not really what he wants to do, and New Orleans forced him into it.
Terrific half-court defensive sequence for the Privateers.
Drive for Gill into House. Savior of a kick out. Broyles the nice spin, and then House just took it from him. 2-on-2, Calhoun streaking the backside and has Weber. Smith doesn't want the 3. Weber does, but the hesitation. And we've got a whistle and a charge. It's almost like Ball State was looking for too good of a shot on that possession. Passed up a couple of pretty good looks.
Well, you got to credit Tevin Broyles. I mean, the closeout and transition D, and again, New Orleans doing a terrific job providing help defense. That's twice today. Ryan Weber's driven to the baseline and been called for a charge. But really, in transition, I thought it was Broyles doing a terrific job not allowing Weber a look from 3.
Marked down as the 10th Ball State turnover. Here's Hill at the top of the key. Point guard is Fry on Smith. And Niall Smith called for his first foul. So after it took Ball State about 11 minutes to get a foul in the first half, it has picked up 2 in the first minute 15 here in the second.
You know, we talked about the strength of Jeremiah Davis. Fry at 6'1", 210. Got definitely a football player body.
Handoff Zeno, driving on Calhoun, and an air ball with the step back.
Great box out by Franco House on Hill.
You know, Weber hasn't scored today, neither has Kristavius Gill, so both teams' leading scorers have not scored. Calhoun, step back's not there, almost another offensive rebound, and they'll get Bo Calhoun for the foul on the roll. Just kind of wrong place, wrong time, but it is a foul.
Well, and you can't fault the look by Bo Calhoun. Franco House trying to get in there, and Bo picks up the foul, his third. You know, that little mid-range jump shot, something Bo is typically very adept at, but not today. Just 1 for 6 for Bo Calhoun, so a little frustration right now for the senior.
They announced that as Bo's third. It's just his first in the box score, though. So the Cardinals catch a break there. Still a 2-point lead. Nobody's scored here in the second half. 2 minutes away. This is Gill, marked by Kiapwe. Hill, left open. The Cardinals had a little miscommunication on the screen. House went to switch. Kiapwe fought through, so Hill was left open.
Well, we talked about the mid-range game. That time Hill showing the ability to step out, knock in the mid-range jump shot.
Sean Sellers into the game now for Weber for Ball State. Calhoun into the lane, jump stop, and here is Sellers wide open. Again, things are not falling for Ball State, although that possession will remain with the team in white, but things have kind of reverted back to what the first few minutes looked like with New Orleans in control.
Yeah, and I tell you, you got to credit New Orleans defense. They have done a terrific job. I can't recall a game this season where Franco House has had fewer post-up possibilities And you can't fault that last look by Sellers. That was a great drive and kick by Calhoun. Sean just unable to knock down the open jumper.
At least House has gotten off 3 shots today. He had just 1 look at the bucket in the win over IUPUI. He made it on Tuesday night. His first 1-shot game since his freshman year. And on cue, Franco House now has 6 points.
Yep, first time this evening. That time, Franco, good post position. Joe, when he catches it that deep, you can almost put it in the books or get him to the foul line.
Coleman Edwards, freshman out of Texas, gives it up for Broyles, big in the first half. Reed's a shooter. And the rebound, Bo Calhoun. As soon as Cameron Reed caught that, you can hear the Ball State bench screaming, shooter.
Great pass.
Kiapwe, in and out, rebound with a foul. And that's Franco House jarring Tevin Broyles.
Yeah, that's just a silly foul on Franco House to pick up his third. You're away from the action, and much like Sellers' shot from the corner, you cannot ask for a better look. And Franco House trying to get that offensive rebound, picks up his third foul and is forced to exit.
Trey Moses will replace House.
And if you're James Whitford, you'll take those shots by Sellers and Kiapwe all day long with thinking those guys have the ability to certainly make a high percentage.
Here's Reed, stripped by Smith. He just straight up took it from him. Then he lays it off the glass for Ball State. Stripped is generous.
Well, Cameron Reed is strictly a catch and shoot guy at this stage of his game. Putting it on the deck, not something he's comfortable with just yet.
I mean, Niall Smith ripped it out of his hands. There's Thibodeau and a whistle underneath. Trey Moses going over the top. Second on Moses, and already the 5th on Ball State. Ball State did not, again, pick up a foul in the first half until there were under 10 minutes to play.
Well, partner, I believe at one point you were worried that we might not have a foul call. Is that correct?
Tongue in cheek, yeah.
Well, the percentage is starting to catch up with Travin Thibodeau. We said he was a 46% free throw shooter, was 2 for 2 in that first half. Missed this one.
Well, just under 50%. 50% there.
And with that made free throw, it allows New Orleans to kind of pick up full court, make the Cardinals burn some time bringing it up.
Smith kind of water bugs his way across midcourt. Offense going, though, with 15 to shoot already. Really not inside the arc with 8 to shoot. Calhoun, he's just going to have to shoot it. Great defense by New Orleans. That's been the continuing theme. Whether or not the Privateers can turn it into points becomes the issue. 3-point Ball State lead. Fire down low, Gill. Back out to Thibodeau. Nice spin move, offensive rebound. Thomas and the junior college transfer. He's got 4 points.
Well, Thomas was the Louisiana JUCO Player of the Year, was a double-double guy consistently, and shows you why. That time crashing the offensive glass and getting the putback.
Bounce pass, and Calhoun will be fouled. He'll go to the line when we come back. Ball State's lead is 1, trying to find a flow on offense in Muncie.
Please welcome back Chris Hall to take us through today's Ball State Federal Credit Union Shoot for Loot contest. Chris.
All right, thank you, Jay. It is time for the Ball State Federal Credit Union Shoot for Loot. And I've got 24 seconds on the clock for Kevin to participate and make 4 shots. If he can get to that, it's $10,000, all right? So, Kevin, it's 24 seconds. You got to beat the clock. A layup's up first. When we pass you the ball, the clock starts. On your mark, get set, let's go.
Hey man, who's that?
The layup is good for a Ball State Federal Credit Union prize pack. A free throw is good for a Ball State Athletics prize pack. A 3-point basket will get him a $25 gift card. He's got 11 seconds. This is the furthest we've seen it so far this year. Getting your own rebound is tough. 4 seconds. Let's see if he can get that one. Does not get it to fall, and time has expired just like that. But a big hand for Kevin. He got 2 of the prize packs. Way to play the shoot for Lute. Jay?
What's in there? So much, actually. Reputation, tradition, trust. At Stoops Beer GMC, we know a lot goes into it.
New Orleans traveling almost 900 miles to come up and play Ball State here this afternoon. That's really nothing new, though, for the Privateers. This is a one-and-done trip. They've already been up to the Midwest a couple of times this year. Took on Bradley on the road. Northwestern was also part of that trip. Done the Bowling Green, Duquesne swing. Bo Calhoun at the line here for Ball State. Fouled just before the timeout. It was the first on New Orleans. They're used to this kind of thing, and it's part of how they support their athletic department, still trying to make the climb back from the ravaging of Hurricane Katrina 10 years ago.
Exactly. Get on the road, chance to generate some revenue, fill the coffers.
This is Broyles, and the kick out to Gill, still held scoreless. See the big thing, 2,700 miles New York to Los Angeles. So you could go back and forth coast to coast 3 times to do all the traveling New Orleans will do non-conference this year. Davis, the lane drive in the bucket, is first of the second half. Big for recruiting, though, for New Orleans, David, too, because you've got an Indiana-based staff. They like to recruit up here. Cameron Reed is from Louisville. Hill with the drain. So it's multifaceted in its purpose, the traveling.
It is. They said they could possibly steal a player. There's so many guys with Indiana ties. They went to a local high school game. The coaching staff did last night, try to build some relationships. And Joel, the Cardinals 0 for 4 behind the arc here in the second half. New Orleans goes zone.
Sellers keeps it alive. Tyler, a little bit flat. And we've got a foul underneath on Trey Moses. That is the third on Ball State's big man, who has been held without a block in the ball game, which is ungodly to think about. 7 in the 2 games coming in.
Well, 70% of shots are going to come off on the weak side, and Moses trying to get position but called for the foul. I'll say this, Bo Calhoun has not let his offense affect his defense. 9 rebounds for Calhoun today.
Gill got open but couldn't connect, and he's got it back and threw it to nobody. He threw it to himself. How about Gill for tracking down the loose ball? Haven't quite seen the guy pass it to himself, baseline to baseline.
Not sure how you get away with that.
Pull up. Got it. Kristavius Gill's first bucket came on probably his most active possession of the day.
Does he get a credit for as an assist for himself? Coach Whitford giving the referee a earful on his way by. Thought for sure that should have been a travel call. Great pump fake by House.
Tyler drives. They chased him off the line. Moses the rebound. He'll go to the line himself.
Well, Tyler did a great job with the punt fake. You knock in a couple threes. Defense runs at you. Aggressive to the hole, and Trey Moses, the freshman, gets to the foul line. There you see Franco, House, and Moses doing a job getting the glass. Moses needs to take advantage here. Just 41% on the season, 10 of 24. Talk to the Cardinal coaching staff, and they said right now for Trey, Joe, it is mental. In practice the other day was 45 for 50. You know, Coach Whitford says we got to do a better job of putting him in some pressure situations during practice to try to get him out of this. He is a much better free throw shooter, but right now just mental.
1 for 2 on that trip. It's Moses' first point today. Ball State retakes the lead on it as well. Screen gets Edwards open. To Hill with the pump fake. Lost Moses. And another offensive rebound for a second. Looked like New Orleans was going to retain possession. That would have been New Orleans' 10th offensive rebound today.
Zeno very active, keeping that alive, almost saved another possession. Well, you got Shane Sellers being guarded by 5'8" Gill.
Good ball movement for Ball State. Winds up with House, and Tyler's wide open. Jeremy Tyler has had a resurgence. 11 points in the ball game for Jeremy Tyler. He had made 0, 1, or 2 field goals 6 times in 8 games this year for Ball State, but he's broken out.
Yeah, he's feeling it. Credit Franco House, the great drive and dish, on time, on target.
And Tyler with the steal. The lob to Davis, and the two-hand jam.
Well, nothing gets your defense going like knocking in a couple shots offensively. Tyler with the 3, the steal, the run out, and Jeremiah Davis with the flush.
Great sequence for Jeremy Tyler. Ball State has stretched a 1-point lead back out. Jeremy Tyler, David Iha with the steal. It leads to the flush. Sophomore starting to play well tonight for Ball State.
Well, he really is. That combination you saw right there, Kiapwe and Davis really doing the job for the second unit. They have 19 of the Cardinals' 43 points. The Ball State bench has 22 overall, so it's been the guys coming in off the bench getting it done offensively.
New Orleans with the basketball and some quick points off the bench. Coleman Edwards, that is his first bucket. Bench for Ball State has been the difference this year, David. You just look at the amount of minutes they get. This talks to the team's depth. 41% of the minutes for Ball State off the bench. That is 16th best in the country.
Yep, we talked about it. I mean, they're going to play 10 guys, and Jeremiah Davis getting it done in all areas here tonight.
Forces another timeout. Ball State by 4. Ball State's lead is 4 midway through the second half. David Iha, we just talked about it. Bench play has just been so critical for the Cardinals. Neither team's leading scorers have really gotten going. Jeremiah Davis has been huge. Jeremy Tyler has been huge. Then you look on the flip side, Trayvon Thibodeau has been huge. You've gotten some uncharacteristic performers on both benches.
Yeah, you really have. And let's see down the stretch, can either of the team's big guns come alive here offensively?
Ball State with bench guys in out of the timeout, and Sean Sellers answers the call.
Both coaches have done a fantastic job. Points after timeouts today. The execution of the plays has been terrific both ways. That time a set play backdoor for Sellers.
Hill too far underneath, nowhere to go. This is Gill, only with 1 bucket today. 13 points per game this year. Shot clock at 5. And that's over the top. You know, Sean Sellers, bench guy who used to be a starter for Ball State. You talked about him right off the top. Somebody Ball State needs to get going. So if it's not going to be Weber or House, Sean Sellers is somebody that today and in the future needs to be in that mix.
Well, when we talked at the outset about splitting minutes, typically one guy would play 12 in that first half, the other guy 8. Ryan Weber struggling today, so Sellers picking up additional minutes here in the second half.
There's Davis cycling it back out. Sean Sellers 10 minutes per game down on his average from last year when he was Mid-American Conference Freshman of the Year. Shot clock already at 6. House has some handles. Just missed the bunny, but how about Franco House's athleticism to get there? And then running the floor, both Broyles and Davis. And some sportsmanship for Jeremiah Davis. Got back on defense. Knew he hit Broyles hard and helps him off the ground.
Yeah, great look ahead by Thibodeau. Defensive mistake for Ball State to allow Broyles to get behind you, but Jeremiah Davis, something he's done so well is getting blocks from behind, but Broyles went down hard. He's going to go to the free throw line, just 52% on the season.
It's not often a 6'4" guard averages a block a game. Jeremiah Davis. So here's Broyles. 4 points, all in the first couple of minutes. Still 4 points, all in the first couple of minutes.
Well, we talked about the formula, Joel, for winning on the road. If you're New Orleans, you get these opportunities. You're in the bonus with the 10-minute mark. You've got to take advantage and knock these in.
See, Broyles' right thumb is wrapped in black tape. And you wonder how much impact that has. He missed the second one. Royals missed the opener at Bowling Green because of that thumb injury. And a foul with Davis driving. And Sellers hit the three.
Well, Joel
won't count.
We'll ask our Dan Wolford from Stats R Us to mark that down at 45-39. 2 missed free throws for New Orleans. If Ball State's to knock one in here, possibly a 3, it could be a huge swing in this ball game.
Registered trademark, by the way. Stats R Us. Well, Weber comes back in off the bench, so Sellers just hit a 3 that doesn't count and goes to the bench. And I believe we've got another clock issue. So Kyle Ingram will make his pilgrimage back over to the scorer's table.
You know, it's interesting, Joel. So much has been made about the reduction in the shot clock from 35 to 30 this year.
Well, if you start it later, then it's actually still just 35.
It's one way around the system. But, you know, saw some interesting statistics from Ken Palm this week is the average possession in college basketball still hovers around the 17-second mark. So it's not as if you're reducing, you know, has made a tremendous impact. It has led to more possessions and scoring is up, but it's not as if teams are taking a phenomenal array of time to get shots up as opposed to last year.
Taking a lot of time to have these two teams get back together. This is the series history you see between New Orleans and Ball State. All three going to New Orleans back in the 70s and 80s. And how about that last score, 1970, David? 103 to 87. Ball State's only played a Southland Conference team 4 times. Those 3 against New Orleans, and then also played Houston Baptist back in the 70s. The trick is that at the time of all 4 of those games, none of those teams were in the Southland. So this is actually the first meeting between Ball State and that conference.
And there is a Ball State connection in the Southland Conference. John Williams, who was a terrific player here, played on the 81 NCAA team, was later one of my assistant coaches, is the athletic director at the University of Incarnate Word, a member of the Southland Conference.
One of the newer Division I teams last couple of years. Southland is one of the leagues that has really overgone a makeover with conference realignment.
And with that shot clock issue, affords Coach Whitford another points after timeout opportunity.
House hesitation. Shot clock at 5. Back to Franco House. And he traveled. Turnover number 11 for Ball State, albeit just the second in the second half.
I tell you, they've really done a terrific job crowding Franco House, and wherever he turns, there's a second player. That time it was Fry doing a great job on the help defense. That turnover now, number 11. Only 2 in the first 10 minutes, however, in the second half. So we talked about adjustments, something the Cardinals needed to concentrate a much better job here in the second half.
Kristavius Gill, step back, the 3 wasn't there. Now Zeno into Calhoun, the fadeaway or fall away, and Bo Calhoun the rebound.
Terrific job. Bo Calhoun bodying up there without fouling, forcing the miss.
11 Bo Calhoun rebounds. Another steal though. Chasing it down, Kiapwe saves it. Under his own bucket, it was risky.
Brian Weber.
House couldn't find him, open in the corner. Weber's still there, now he moves. Cardinals reset with time. This is House on Zeno. The slow back down into 4. Davis. Whoops. Well, the good news is he has some film to send to the Harlem Globetrotters.
That's right, the confetti. Even Jeremiah got a little bit of a laugh out of that one.
There is a Ball State player on the Globetrotters, too, so he's got somebody to call.
And, of course, he says, I need the towel for my hands. You would expect that.
Got to get the stickum off.
Well, no sooner we talk about the fewer amount of turnovers that it's gotten contagious. 2 in the last 3 possessions.
Kristavius Gill gets the screen. Calhoun hedges it. Gill to the bucket. Shot is swatted out of nowhere. And we've got a foul on Ball State, the block.
Yeah, look at Trey Moses again protecting the rim. Kind of got away with one there, grabbing the net. I thought they might call that a goaltending, but no call.
Foul on Ryan Weber, his second. Trey Moses now has 8 blocks in the last 3 games. He's averaging a block and a third per game, 1.3 blocks per game. The best by a Cardinal since 2009-2010 when Terrence Watson was third in the Mid-American Conference. But this is how much this program has lacked that interior presence until now, is that was also the last time a Cardinal appeared in the Mid-American Conference leaders, top 10, 5 years ago. So Moses, much needed for James Whitworth.
Well, it really is. It affords your guards the luxury of playing a little bit more pressure defense, because if you get beat, you got somebody there to help you out, which is a luxury Cardinals haven't had for quite some time, as you mentioned. Big possession here. Ryan Weber still no points here this afternoon.
He's guarded by the freshman in Cameron Reed, Trey Moses' high school teammate. Louisville, Kentucky. Shot clock at 7 for Niall Smith. Wide open Kiapwe. Can't lose him. They got lucky. And the loose ball to Weber. Wide open, he puts it in. 10th offensive rebound for Ball State.
And the 9th second chance points. Weber at 6'6". You kind of lose sight of how big he is with his 3-point shooting.
And the first bucket for Weber in the ball game. Falling through traffic, no foul. Boy, how about Kevin Hill? Just efforting it up there. But Ball State's lead is 6 and Weber is open. Ryan Weber is open.
And Joel Hill was slow to get back. He took the shot at the offensive end and just did not get back and found Weber courtesy of Kiapwe. Huge swing right there. 5-point swing.
Gill, kick for Fry. That would have been a big 3. Rebound Thibodeau. That's going to draw a foul. The lead at its largest, 9 points for Ball State. Cardinals stretching things, defense into offense, and Ryan Weber's motor is going. Trey Moses for Ball State down the stretch here, David Iha. Not a huge impact in the box score today, but a couple of big plays down the stretch.
Well, he has, Joel. 4 rebounds, 3 of them on the offensive end, so saving the Cardinals those extra possessions, and last time doing a terrific job protecting the rim.
Playing against his high school teammate in Cameron Reed. They've known each other since they were 3 or 4 years old, Moses said. Both are on the floor at the moment. The coolest nugget, and you always kind of think that this happens as Trayvon Thibodeau misses the free throw, but you don't really know that it happens. As Moses said, in AAU ball, they would, or in summer ball, they would know a coach is there to see one or other, and they'd get the other guy the shots to make sure he could look good. These guys helping each other out.
Exactly. Both really good teammates along with good players.
8 points is the lead, 9 the largest heading into the timeout for Ball State.
And speaking of the freshman, Reed has his hands full right now guarding the Cardinals' leading scorer, Ryan Weber.
Well, there is Weber on the curl, gets into the lane, cannot finish though. Got his own board. Ryan Weber for Ball State, 7 points, and he's done it all in the last 2 minutes.
Just a junior working on a freshman there.
Off the backboard, and Weber had the leak out. Good tipped pass slows things down.
And now you're at that juncture. Ball State was here against IUPUI. Let them creep back in. You've got a 10-point lead at the 6-minute mark. Be quick, don't hurry, as John Wooden used to say.
Spin move! Missed it. Almost got it back again, though. Weber still playing well.
Got a fine read here.
Wide open. What a quick release. Just off the mark and an offensive board. Reset here for New Orleans. How about the release for Reed?
He is definitely a shooter extraordinaire.
Gill, step back. Kristavius Gill is just not on today here for New Orleans.
12 rebounds now for Bo Calhoun. So as we said, struggling a little bit offensively with 4 points, but getting it done on the glass.
Block called. That goes on Thomas, his second. Kristavius Gill, David, is 1 of 7. He has missed both his three-point attempts. It's interesting. Odd note, I don't know what to make of it. But Kristavius Gill this year has had double-figure field goal attempts 4 times. Today is the 3rd time this year he has not had double-figure field goal attempts. He has not hit a shot in 2 of those 3 games. So volume shooter, and the more he shoots is when he scores.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I've watched a couple of their games. He typically has gotten a lot more baskets in transition. He likes to lead the break. He's done it off of a couple steals, but Ball State's done a pretty good job finding him on the break.
Calhoun wanted the 3, dumps it off. Moses going back to the line. Zeno the foul, his second.
I tell you, Bo Calhoun just doing a terrific job passing. What a luxury when your 4-man can put it on the deck, draw the defense, and here goes Trey Moses back to the free throw line. See if he can capitalize. Last time, 1 for 2. Stroke looks much better than a 40% free throw shooter.
I'll tell you what, too, with a guy like Trey Moses, those are the types of buckets that next year he should, or you would hope, if you're James Whitford and staff, that he can finish. Get into the weight room, put some muscle on what still is very much a high school body.
Absolutely.
Gill, there he is on the leak out. You just mentioned it, and a hard foul. They get Smith for the block. And that's an interesting point of emphasis in the new rules. They're supposed to not necessarily reward bad offense, so to speak. So if you're out of control, the foul is on you, and that's trying to find ways to enforce it appropriately.
Yeah, and they're going to say that I think Niall Smith got him on the arm rather than the body, but you see what it's like trying to stop Gill when he gets a full steam ahead. Talk about lightning quickness.
Foul on Smith, his second. Great statement from that man, Mark Schlesinger, on Kristavius Gill. He's only 5'8", 168, one of the smaller players in college basketball. Said, hey, you've got to look past those things sometimes and give somebody a chance. He said, my wife looked past my looks and gave me a chance, so everybody deserves their opportunity to overachieve. He said it.
He has quite the sense of humor. It was fantastic talking to him about his enjoyment of the dining scene in New Orleans as opposed to growing up in Bloomington.
He said it too. There are no bad restaurants. Dump off for Moses. He said the bad ones just close. So after a while, you do some damage.
And speaking of doing damage, that was a terrific finish by Trey Moses, courtesy of Niall Smith with the little driving dish.
Turnover in the lane. This could be fireworks. Moses stripped. Clean, Kristavius Gill. Into a 3. It is fireworks, but on the other end, Kristavius Gill keeping New Orleans in it with 4:14 to go.
Well, you see why he's the 3rd leading steal getter in the Southland Conference. The little guy with quick hands and then finishing with the 3.
Ball State with a steal really could have opened things up here late on the run out, but how about Kristavius Gill, David Iha, steals it back on the other end and then goes coast to coast himself for a 3. And just like that, it's an 8-point ball game.
Well, it's exactly right. His 17th steal on the season. We talked about getting ahead of steam. Cardinals backed off a little bit, pulled up, bam. Huge basket keeping New Orleans in this thing.
That's a junior too. Maybe a freshman, afraid to take that shot because it's quote-unquote selfish. But if you're a junior, you know you can hit it. There's trust. Let it fly. So Ball State back in possession, can really try to get a grapple back on things. And a foul with Niall Smith driving. That is the 7th on New Orleans, so Ball State now 1-1.
New Orleans foul number 2, Coleman Edwards, his second.
Already 10 fouls on Ball State, so New Orleans is shooting 2 the rest of the way.
And Niall Smith has only been to the charity stripe 4 times this season. He's made 3, so not a guy that gets there a lot.
Takes advantage.
New Orleans substitution back in, number 25, Traven
really good point guard production today for Ball State. The combination of Davis and Smith, 15 points, just 1 turnover between the two of them. I'm sorry, Jeremiah Davis has 3, so 4 turnovers. But both guys getting in there and being productive, getting to the paint and drawing assists.
Foul was on Gill, his 3rd. Ball State back to 10. Gill cuts it to 7. It's been all Kristavius Gill. Good and bad. Both ends of the floor here for New Orleans.
Well, he sees that first one go through the net, did not hesitate. That was a good 4 feet behind the arc.
Well, he mentioned volume shooter. He needs a lot to sometimes get going. 10 points now, all in the second half for Kristavius Gill.
Got to give this New Orleans team credit. They will not go away.
Bo Calhoun with the step back. Has range out there. Rebound again, offensive for the Cardinals. They're 12th.
Well, I tell you, huge rebound by Weber, his 3rd.
Niall Smith. Tevin Broyles might need to go to the orthopedist.
At 30 seconds, the Cardinals bought by that extra possession at this juncture is humongous.
Calhoun on the dump down, lost it. Thibodeau. And there are no numbers.
Got to find Gill.
Here he is, head of steam into the lane, over the block. Kristavius Gill. If New Orleans is going to come back, he is the reason.
Well, you talked about head of steam. He is so quick, Cardinals could not stop him coast to coast for the 5'8" junior.
Bleed offense now for Ball State.
Well, you sometimes run the risk of being too conservative. You get out of any flow.
Lead is 5. Here's House. Double team with a foul. Thibodeau on the help side. That is the first. How about that on Trayvon Thibodeau? 6'8", 250. He'd played clean to this point. And pardon, they actually get Zeno. Well, Thibodeau got away with a felony there. Look at this hit. Yeah. They get Zeno underneath. That is his 3rd.
Substitutions back into your Cardinals. Jeremiah Davis returning for New Orleans. Number 3, Nate.
All right, so Thibodeau has still played clean. Still impressive at that size.
Well, a little better job at the free throw line today. Ball State 9 for 13. Make that 10 for 14. This was a team against IUPUI that was just 7 for 15.
Worst output at the free throw line since Bradley in the opener. Cardinals were able to play through it and beat IUPUI though on Tuesday. Win when you're not playing your best. And Kristavius Gill with the carry.
And he has a tendency to do that, Joel. I watched a couple of New Orleans games on films, and at least twice he was called for the same turnover, carrying it just a little carried away. Big turnover now.
7 points is the difference. 2 minutes left to go. You need stops if you're New Orleans. Ball State has shot it at a 42% clip. And House, no. Looked like he lost it himself. They'll say off a privateer's foot with a foul. That's the second on Kevin Hill. And 1-1 for Franco House.
Yeah, that's a big break. Thibodeau actually looked like the guy that fouled him originally, but they thought they had a turnover.
So Ball State back to the line. And House will get a second. Despite not shooting it well against IUPUI, Ball State, in its 5 consecutive wins before today, 115 free throws, outscoring its opponents 86-41. So it's gotten it done at the free throw line.
Well, speaking about getting it done, I mean, the Cardinals have not played great offensively. And as they say, Joe, on any given day, you may or may not make shots. But if you can defend, you're going to be in games. And that's why the Cardinals are leading right now. New Orleans just 35% field goal shooting.
Good stop inside by Kiapwe, rolling up, and it leads to a turnover. Davis caught in the backcourt, able to dribble through it. And the pull-up. Jeremiah Davis with the swagger of a senior.
I tell you, that's good to see. That gives him double figures, 2 games in a row. Those were the ones that weren't falling earlier in the year. A new sense of confidence on the offensive end for Jeremiah Davis.
And he takes it away and gets fouled with Ball State up 11. Just 1:15 to go. He had to navigate the seas to get there, too.
Calhoun wanted the lob, but JD said, forget that, I'm on fire. And these are the exact same looks, Joel, that Jeremiah was getting in those early ball games that were not falling. So what a huge difference, and you can just see the confidence blossoming right now.
Does miss on the front end. It is a 2-shot bonus now. That's the 10th foul on New Orleans.
You know, we talked about the defense in this game and holding Privateers to 35% shooting. On the season, Ball State holding their opponents to 39%. This was a big point of emphasis for Coach Whitford and the staff, saying, look, guys, we're going to get an identity. We know we have the ability to score, but we've got to do a better job defensively. And the Cardinals, it's taken a 10-guy effort, but they're managing to do that.
38th in the country in scoring defense. 38th out of 354 teams. There's your difference. Largest lead of the day at 12 after the free throw from Davis. This is Danny Cohen. So to the bench for New Orleans in the final minute. And the rebound comes down to Travis Avery, senior from Algiers, Louisiana. So Mark Schlesinger kind of conceding the point now, down 12. And getting some playing time for a couple guys off the bench. Lomin Mboj is also in, the junior out of Dakar in Senegal.
As you take a look at Coach Whitford, you know, Joe, one of the other things that jumps out, I remember after the Bradley game when the Cardinals gave away that lead at the end, Coach Whitford talked about, man, our guys just didn't seize it. In this 6-game win streak, the Cardinals have had leads, coughed it up at times, but have made the winning plays. And you start to win, you breed confidence, you start to expect in these close situations that we're going to handle it and come out on top. And that's something that you have to learn to do. And you often talk about maybe the schedule you play, but you can see the difference in the confidence in these end-of-game stretches. The Cardinals look like they expect to win and pull these out.
Learning how to win is a critical part of winning. Inside, this is Mbij, and it's taken away. Here comes Davis, again on the run out. Nice layup with the right, protecting the basketball. And the Cardinals up a game-high 14. And will likely get the ball back, barring an offensive rebound. Backups get a chance to play. That's Matthew Giles missing the 3. And now with the shot clock off, that will do it. 6 consecutive wins for Ball State. 7 on the season. That matches the total from a year ago. James Whitford has gotten things turned around in Muncie here in year 3. It's Ball State's best start since 2000. 99-2000, the last time it went to the NCAA tournament.
Well, credit the Ball State bench for getting it done this afternoon. Jeremiah Davis, a team-high 13 points. Jeremy Tyler, some big threes off the bench. But in an afternoon when your big scorers were not getting it done, the guys coming in platoon, and that's what you want. A lot of depth for Ball State came through this afternoon.
66-52 is your final score. Ball State now winners of 6 consecutive games, 7-2 on the still young season. For David Iha, our producer Eric Perrin, and the rest of our ESPN3 crew, my name is Joel Gadet. Thanks for joining us tonight in Muncie. This has been a production of ESPN. You can watch a replay of this game and other games on ESPN3 or by downloading the Watch ESPN app. 66-52, our final score from Muncie. Good night.